So we can be passionate about all of these things, but ultimately the goal for us living here on this earth is not just to make a lot of money, right? We want to make a lot of money, right? But we want to have things that we're passionate about in our sports and our gifts and our talents. But the reason why we were all gifted with these things is because God gave us these gifts so we can serve other people, right? God gave us these gifts so we can be good at what we do. But then when they see how we move, they see how we act, they see that we're still able to have love and kindness and show people the love of God, then it makes them ask, like, you're different, right? And it makes them question and want to know more things about you because you're different than everybody else in a positive way. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit of my story and how I became passionate for Christ and using my gifts. And what I want to leave with you guys today is you guys growing a passion and being unashamed for Christ and the things that you do. Y'all with me? Y'all ready? Okay, so Matthew 5:16. I just want to give you this quick verse because the song that I did was called Let It Shine. So it was inspired by this verse. And this verse goes, in the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So what does that really mean? I'm a pro basketball player. So I know when I grew up playing basketball, when I got into all the things of what a basketball player consists of in terms of the lifestyle and the aura and the attention that you get in being an athlete, I realized the way that I have to let my light shine is not compromising. It's not falling into temptation. Because when you play in a world that's full of sports and you go to high school and you're in college and you're in pro, you have a lot of access to things that can lead you down the wrong path, right? You can make a lot of money, but you also have to make conscious decisions. And so I realized because I love God, because I want to serve God, I know I have to make sure that I'm conscientious in knowing how I can let my light shine before others, right? And so what it really means is to just be positive, right? It's to have faith and to let people know that I was put here on earth for a reason. I was gifted with gifts, and it's so I can let the light of God shine through me so you can see something that's different about me. I don't know about you guys, but if you guys are in the arts, you're in music, you're in sports, you're doing certain things that draws a lot of attention for the great things that you do, if you're like me, it's probably a struggle sometimes to let your light shine, right? Especially in this culture. Can y'all agree? Yeah, y'all can talk back to me. So through social media, right? Through TV, through what we see in culture, there's a tug of war that is trying to keep us from letting our light shine. But Romans 1:16 says, this is one of my favorite verses. It goes like this. It says, for I am not ashamed of the gospel because it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. But what does that mean? So, if somebody were to see me reading my Bible, or they saw me listening to Christian rap, you put on Henley and they're like, who's that? Right? You don't have to lie or say, you're scared to tell them why you have a Bible, why you're listening to different music that may not be like very vulgar and have a lot of cursing in it. And that gives you an opportunity to let people know, I like this. This is what I listen to, and this is what I do in my spare time. And when it's something that is very opposite or countercultural to what they listen to or what they do in their spare time, because I was in school, I know how it affects people. You make other people think, man, they are different. They are unashamed. Maybe I want to know who Jesus is, and maybe I'm curious because I go through a lot of things at home. right? I go through a lot of self-esteem issues. I go through not feeling loved. I go through all types of stuff that is bothering me, but I'm scared. I'm scared to open up and tell you that what you're doing, I actually admire, and I want to find the truth, and I want to find love. But if we're unashamed to do those things, we never know the positive effects that we can have on other people. You guys checking with me? Checking me? So my testimony story, I'll just go here. So this may seem like the best parts of my life that I've had to experience. I played college basketball and I was on TV pretty much all the time. I played at a great school called Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was a D1 school, and we played against so many popular schools like Duke University, Syracuse University, Kansas. The list goes on and on if you guys follow D1 sports. And I got to the point where I got good and I was one of the starters. So now I'm getting all the attention, not all the attention, but I'm getting a good amount, you know what I mean? And I started playing well, right? You guys ever heard of Madison Square Garden? Show of hands. So let me show you. This is me right here at the Madison Square Garden. Sold out crowd of 20,000 people. Had my biggest game on ESPN, right? One of the leading scorers. But during that time, I was so empty. Like, imagine that. How are you empty when you get all this attention? You win a crazy game in the Madison Square Garden. You're in New York. But I felt empty because I wasn't really living my purpose. And what does that mean? I was just following the crowd. You see the pictures of me, LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell. Because I transferred to Ohio State, and that's a whole other story in itself. But as you follow me, I have all these great experiences. I hit a game winner at the buzzer, up top. That's why I'm jumping like that in the white, if y'all can see. There's so many great things that I was able to do. But when I would go back home to my dorm, I didn't feel a sense of real purpose that I was living. Right? Mainly because I was following the crowd. I was going out, I was drinking, I was participating in all of these parties, doing everything that everyone else was doing, but I knew that there was something greater inside of me because I grew up in church. My parents are pastors. I've seen God help me in my life. I've seen him open up doors for me to go to college. I've seen him, have people bless me where I'm like, there's no way that this person just knew to give me $50. We talking about it as a teenager, as a college, and things that I've experienced that it's like, it's not by chance that these things are happening to me. It's like, I think there's a God that cares about me. But when I got to school, I tried to fit in like everybody else. Why? Because it's the most popular thing to do. So even though I experienced all these great moments, as you can see, this looks like this was my best life. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I had a lot of fun. But what happens is, people that are living in the world, right? When you have all this access to do things that are tempting you, bring a temptation, there also comes a time where all of those things fade away. When you're really looking for love, when you're really looking for support, when you're really looking for purpose, all the things that we get ourselves into, right? It ultimately does not comfort us the way Jesus can. Y'all checking me? And that's what I found out. And I went for years going down this road. In college, I basically was like, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but I'm not gonna live for him. I'm barely gonna pray, I'm not gonna be around other people that can, help me in my relationship with Christ. I'm gonna just do whatever I wanna do. And the reason why that happened, because my story is pretty long, but it's really powerful. I had got hurt my freshman year. So all these great moments happened after my freshman year. I got hurt because I was living different. And the teammates that I had, they couldn't understand, like, oh, why don't you want to go to the parties? Why don't you want to get drunk? Why don't you want to do these things with girls or whatever? I'm like, man, because I'm just trying to live a different life. I'm focused on playing basketball. I want to get good grades. But the tug of war was so strong because they're my teammates and I want to fit in. And when I get on the court, if I'm open, pass me the ball. You know what I'm saying? Or let's play as a team. But because I was living a different life, they didn't understand or they couldn't relate to me because they thought what I was doing was weird. When really it wasn't. It's just, I don't want to do those things. I want to live a life for God. And that doesn't mean that I'm not cool. That doesn't mean that I don't got swag. I can't dress. You know what I mean? I just want to live a different life than you. But we can still be friends. We can still be teammates. But what happened was I ended up getting hurt. And I looked to God. I was in the hospital. I broke my back. Right? Freshman. And I thought, God, I came to school to do the right things. I came here to play basketball. I came here to get an education, to make friends. And I was doing the right things. And I'm like, you know what? I don't trust in you, so I'm going to do what I want to do. And the scary part is, all these things was me doing what I wanted to do and not living a passionate and purposeful life for God. And so despite all the great things that I experienced, I did it on my own. I worked hard. Because you guys know when you work hard at your own gifts, you can still be successful. But that doesn't mean that you will have true happiness. Right? This is why we talk about how important God is. Because God wants you to have the money. He wants you to be successful. But you're going to struggle in life. And when you struggle in life, you know that you can lean and trust in Him. You guys checking me? Good. All right. So this is the problem that I want to help you guys understand. Too many of us dim our light. Sometimes our light shines the brightest when we're around other people that's just like us. But that's why God wants us to be unashamed. He wants us to love on people, to those who have no hope, right? To those who have nobody to encourage them. Nobody to pray for them when they're down and out and they're going through issues. When you feel something in your heart telling you like, hey, go check on them.